focused on important and significant developments affecting the lives of Filipinos, not only in the Philippines, but also those living and working around the world. Join us in Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Good day. Welcome to Front and Center, where we focus on developments in the Philippines, legislation that provides policies and directions that strives to promote a better economy for the country, issues that concern the welfare and well-being of every Filipino. All of these and more will be Front and Center. And you can watch this program on our Facebook page live and also on our delayed broadcast on our YouTube channel. That's Radyo Pilipinas World Service. And you can hear us on audio streaming through PBS Evox receiver app and also on our shortwave broadcast through the shortwave frequencies. That's 15.640 megahertz, 17.750 megahertz, and 21.720 megahertz, which can be heard from 200 to 3:30 hours UTC. And this is your host, Jerome Toledo. Let's begin Front and Center on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
All right. Okay, so for our discussion today, because Senator Amy Marcos is urging the government to aggressively pursue direct government to government or G2G oil procurement as a key strategy to cushion the impact of the ongoing global oil shock. And that's in 2 months, because we are in 2 months into the crisis triggered by the US-Iran conflict. And Senator Marcos said the government should buy oil directly from supplier countries and just to abate the burden of rising oil prices on Filipinos. And she pointed out that several countries are already moving aggressively in which purchasing the oil supply. And to discuss more of that and also the strategic national oil reserves and also issues on renewable energy, we now have on the line the former Energy Department official and a member or executive board member of UP, University of the Philippines, Philippine Energy Research and Policy Institute, none other than Attorney Jay Layog. Good morning, Attorney Layog. Thank you so much for joining us in the program Front and Center on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Good morning, Jerome, and good morning to all your listeners.
Okay, so Senator Amy Marcos, Attorney Layog, calls on the government to pursue the government-to-government oil procurement to secure oil supply. So, and also we understand the president has declared a national state of energy emergency. But why it matters to secure oil supply through this G2G agreement? And is there any legal or logistical reason that may prevent our government from doing it?
Well, Jerome, it's a good plan for the government to secure supplies directly with other governments. Because if you recall, when the Middle East problem arose, our oil companies were having difficulty securing supply to be provided in the Philippines. So the government intervened, and because of the declaration of national energy emergency, the DOE led the efforts to secure oil supply. And so it's a good strategy, but at the same time, perhaps we need to pass a new law because right now the government is not into distribution of oil products, and that's been left to the private oil companies. So we need to pass a new law to make sure that the government can also distribute these products.
Okay. So can you tell us, Attorney Layog, the pros and cons of government-to-government oil procurement?
Well, definitely as a pro, as an advantage, because it's a government-to-government deal, we are assured of supply. And in fact, based on news that we have seen, it's not just us, but the ASEAN, all the countries in Southeast Asia are already thinking of having this arrangement within the ASEAN region. Supply, therefore, will be assured because of this cooperation. But of course, the question is, how do we distribute these products. Because right now, as you know, we have deregulated the market, and only the private sector has the ability to store them and distribute all these oil products.
Okay, and that one of the solution is to amend the oil deregulation law, Attorney Layug.
Well, yes, if the intention really is for the government to engage in distribution of oil products. But then, Jerome, we have to be very careful about whether we want to do this because we've been here before. No? Once upon a time, PNOC was subsidizing all the oil products, and it was difficult for us, because we were at the mercy again of the international market. So while this is good only as a temporary measure, I think at the end of the day we have to think whether we want to do this on a long-term basis, because it's not cheap to buy and then distribute all these petroleum products.
And that's to balance its effect on the market, and at the same time ensure the transparency regarding this G2G deal with the supplier country, Attorney Layug.
Well, definitely not just transparency, but obviously the government cannot sell it at a big margin, right?
Yes.
Unlike the private sector. But then again, you don't want to be utilizing public funds and then not earn also. No? If you're talking about investments of the government, it's more feasible if you invest it in undertakings that really earn money for the government. So that's why the downstream deregulation law has given it to the private sector rather than the government doing it.
All right. Okay. Since we're talking about investment, Attorney Layug, so we are aiming to diversify our oil supply, and along with that is the estimated cost for a 90-day reserve, which we are planning to build, the National Oil Reserve, which will reach 176 billion pesos. So, can the government realistically achieve this goal?
Well, again, that's what I'm saying. Perhaps on a short-term basis we can do this, but not on a long-term as a long-term measure, because it's really expensive for the government to get involved in distribution of petroleum products. So I don't think it should be the business of government. If regulation of price is something that we want to do, then we regulate it by amending the law, but not necessarily the government getting involved in that business.
Okay. But do you believe, Attorney Layug, that we don't see any gaps that prevents us from having buffer oil stocks, although the government continuously buying supplies from other countries?
All right. Well, the gap there, really, Jerome, is we should reduce reliance on imported fuel, which I have been saying.
Yes.
We will not be in this discussion if, in the first place, we are not relying on imported fuel. And that means, increasing our utilization of renewables, and for the public transport, moving towards electric vehicles. The DOE has been doing that. We just need to make sure that we double our efforts to do it.
All right, double the efforts. And also, we should seriously invest on National Renewable Energy Program.
Yes. In fact, right now we have a 35% goal by 2030 and a 50% installation target by 2040. And if I were, to recommend to the government, maybe we should increase it. Increase the target so that we reduce importing not just oil, but also importing fossil fuels like coal and natural gas.
And we should do that step by step, by increments, like a target of 1 to 2%. Attorney Layug.
Well, we have been doing it. In fact, as I mentioned, we have a 50% goal by 2040, but perhaps the government can think of increasing that target. I think we have seen how vulnerable we are. And this has been happening, Jerome, every decade. That's why we should really stop not stop, but at least reduce reliance on imported fuel.
We should reduce our reliance on oil supply, and also
That's right.
yes, that's right. And also, before I let you go, Attorney Layo, because I believe you have commitments for today, but I would like to ask for your stance on this, because Manila Electric Company, or Meralco, pushes for solar equipment standards regulation of installations, because they specifically urging the government to establish strict technical standards for rooftop solar equipment and regulate what they call guerrilla installations to ensure consumer safety and grid stability. And it aims to streamline the net metering program and grant the ERC, or the Energy Regulatory Commission, authority to determine scope and simplify permitting. So what's your stance on that, Attorney Layo?
Well, I fully support the call of Meralco to ensure safety by requiring all these installers to comply with at least industry standards. The DOE has a list of certified solar installers, and they pass through requirements, technical requirements of the DOE. So we should be doing that, especially with now the uptick of solar installation, especially in households. It's very important that we have certification for accreditation of these installers. So fully support that, and the DOE is already doing it as well.
Okay. All right. Very well said. And with that, thank you so much for joining us in the program. And we hope we have you again, because this situation regarding our oil supply is still ongoing. And also, at the same time, we are still pushing for the increase the increased support for renewable energy. So we will have you again in the program. Thank you so much, Attorney J. Layug, the former Energy Department official and also Executive Board member of the University of the Philippines, Philippine Energy Research and Policy Institute.
Thank you, Jerome. Thank you to your listeners.
Thank you. All right, and Front and Center will be right back after these short messages.
Paano nga ba mag-register para magkaroon ng schedule sa Bagong Pilipinas Presidential Action Center? Narito ang mga dapat gawin. Gamit ang iyong mobile device, pumunta sa eGov.ph app. Pwede itong i-download mula sa Apple App Store o sa Google Play Store. Gumawa ng account. Ilagay ang email address, valid mobile number, pagkatapos ay makakatanggap ka ng one-time code sa iyong email. Gamitin ang code sa eGov app para sa verification ng iyong account at ng mga impormasyong ibinigay. Congratulations! Meron ka ng eGov.ph app account. Pwede mo na ma-access ang iba't ibang serbisyo ng gobyerno, kabilang ang mga serbisyo sa Bagong Pilipinas Presidential Action Center.
Mabilisang trivia, dagdag talino. Heto na ang Dagling Kaalaman.
Paggamit ng maliit na plato, nakakabawas ng timbang? Parang hindi ka pani-paniwala, subalit ayon sa scientists, nakakatulong sa pagpapapayat ang paggamit ng maliit na plato. Napag-alaman ng researchers sa Cornell University na dahil sa paggamit ng maliit na plato, nabawasan ng 30% ang dami ng calories na kinakain ng mga respondents. Pero ito ay posible lang kung present ang dalawang kondisyon. Una, dapat ang tao mismo ang magsaserve ng pagkain sa kanyang sarili dahil kumukonti ang kinukuha niyang pagkain. At pangalawa, hindi dapat binabantayan ang pagkain ng tao.
Kaunting kaalaman na malaking dagdag talino. Abangan muli ang susunod na Dagling Kaalaman.
Mga kabataan, si Dingdong to. Meron akong tips na gustong i-share tungkol sa dapat nating gawin matapos ang pagputok ng bulkan. Kapag pinayagan ng makauwi sa inyong bahay, for sure, sunod-sunod na ang utos sa mga magulang natin yan. Pero, wait lang ha, siguraduhin may takip pa rin ang bibig at ilong dahil masama sa kalusugan ang paglanghap ng volcanic ash. Walisin din muna ang mga naipong abo sa bubong, pinto at bintana bago ito basain. Bibigat kasi ang abo kapag nabasa ito. At syempre, huwag itapon ang abo sa kanal kasi naku, magbabara yan. O ngayon, alam mo na ha? Good luck na lang sa mga utos ng magulang mo. #panatag ang may alam.
is a public service announcement.
Maging handa sa oras ng sakuna. Para sa iyo at sa iyong pamilya, laging siguruhin. Go Bag ay nakahanda at naglalaman ng mga sumusunod. Ilang pirasong damit, ready-to-eat na pagkain at inuming aabot ng 3 araw. Personal na gamit para sa inyong hygiene. First aid kit kabilang ang alcohol, bandages, gamot sa lagnat, ubo at sipon, pati na rin ang inyong vitamins at maintenance medicines. Maglagay ng pito, flashlight, lighter o posporo. Huwag kalimutan ang mga charger o power bank. At higit sa lahat, isama ang mga importanteng gamit gaya ng inyong mga legal na dokumento, IDs, ATM o passbook, insurance at iba pa.
This is a public service announcement. Public service announcement
From PBS, Presidential Broadcast Service and Radyo Pilipinas.
Paliwanag mo sa tao na hindi totoo yan.
Dahil ang totoo, yung totoo ang dapat ninyong malaman.
Nagkalat sa internet ang fake news
Ang
o
ginagawa
mali
ng
at
fake news, tinatapon niyo yung tao.
what they are doing is creating panic.
We say no.
Yung pagkalat ng fake news. And some of it's dangerous.
Sana iwasan po natin pag-spread ng fake news.
At di magpapakalat ng disinformation at misinformation ang kasulukuyang administrasyon.
Stop telling us fake news because you're wrong.
Para sa totoo at mapagkakatiwalaang mga balita at impormasyon, Radyo Pilipinas.
Front and center. Front and center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Welcome back to Front and Center here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Still with me, Jerome Toledo. And at this point, we're now going to play a speech coming from President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. as he attends sa General Trias Bawat Barangay Makikinabang event. That's in General Trias, Cavite. Let's listen in.
Mula sa Presidential Communications Office at Radyo Pilipinas, ito ang Presidential Live Event. Presidential Live Event.
Maraming salamat sa ating butihing sekretary ng DILG, Secretary. Teka, yung bang pagkakilala sa iyo dito, Governor Pogi, napunta rin sa secretary. So si Secretary Pogi, sabi ko, nung nagkakampanya kami minsan, sabi ko, pambira, dito lang sa Cavite, yung governor, ang panlaban niya sa kampanya niya dahil pogi daw siya. Totoo naman. Tanong ko sa mga babae. Mayor Ferrer, ang ating mga kongresista, Governor Remulla, at siyempre, ang mga beneficiary natin, lalong-lalo na ang mga barangay officials na nandito ngayon, barangay officials ng Gen 3, at yung ating mga iba pang beneficiary, magiging presidential scholar. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Andito po kami dahil meron tayong inilulunsad na programa, 2 klaseng programa. Yung isa po ang tinatawag na ang manggagaling sa LGSF. Ito po yung nakikita ninyo na bawat, yung meron pa ibang karatula doon. Bawat bayan makikinabang. Yun po, ito po ang ibig sabihin. Ang LGSF po ay Local Government Support Fund. Ngunit sa nakakaraan, hindi po nagagamit ito masyado at kung saan napupunta yung pondong yan. Kaya ako po ay laki, ang tawag ko sa sarili ko, laking local government po ako dahil 9 na taon ako naging governor ng Ilocos Norte. Nakita ko po ang paano ang patakbo pagka sa mga provincial level, sa mga municipal level, hanggat sa barangay. Kaya po sabi ko, siguro panahon na gamitin natin sa tama yung LGSF. Yan po ang pondo na nasa national government. Ang ginawa po namin ay lahat ng probinsya, lahat ng lungsod, lahat ng mga bayan ay kukuha po tayo dun sa pondong yan at ipinamimigay natin sa ating mga local government officials. Kasama doon sa programang yon, hindi lang po, siyempre yung pondo ibinababa natin sa local government officials, ngunit meron din kaming konting kondisyon na kailangan kasama doon ang pagbigay ng mga 10 kilo na sako ng bigas sa mga lahat na nangangailangan. Yan pong listahan kung sino ang mabibigyan, sino ang matutulungan dito sa tigsa 10 kilo na sakong bigas ay kinukuha po namin sa ating mga local government officials, sa mga barangay official, sa mga mayor, sa mga governor, para alam po namin kung sino ang dapat makatanggap nito. At kailangan po niyo malaman, hindi lang po minsanan nito. Itong 10 kilo na bigas ay magbibigay kami 6 na beses kada taon. Bawat 2 buwan may 10 kilo ng bigas para naman matiyak natin ang food supply ng ating mga kababayan na nangangailangan ng tulong. Yan po ang gamit namin dito sa LGSF. At yung isa pang programa, yung nanggaling naman sa ibang pondo, Socio Civic Program Fund, SCPF. Ito po ay ginamit naman namin para bigay sa mga barangay. At yung binibigay po natin, kagaya na napaliwanag, yung pong checking binigay ko sa ating ABC at saka kay Mayor, yan po ay para sa bawat barangay, makapagbigay po tayo ng 200 piso. 200,000 piso. Ang 200,000 piso na yon, meron kaming hinihingi sa mga barangay official na kalahati nun, 100,000 piso doon sa barangay ay ibigay sa mga gagawing presidential scholar. Tigda 20,000 piso ang bigay sa bawat scholar, kaya't bawat barangay magkakaroon tayo ng 5 presidential scholar. Kaya po ito ay dahil napakahalaga po na meron tayo magandang training ng ating mga kabataan, na may maganda silang pinag-aralan at para pagkatapos ng pagkapanahon na kami, lilipas din kami. Kaya kailangan naka-ready na kayo para pagsunod ninyo. Kayo magpapatakbo ng Pilipinas. Kaya we have to have good training. Kailangan maganda ang inyong pag-aaral. Ang lagi kong nasabi ko doon sa ibang kasamahan ninyo sa labas, nag-orientation, ko sa kanila, gawin nyo mag-aral kayo na mabuti. Study hard. Talagang napakahalaga ang magandang edukasyon. Dahil, lagi kong sinasabi ito, dahil ito yung natutunan ko sa sarili kong buhay. Dahil kapag magandang naging edukasyon mo, nag-aral kayo ng mabuti, napakabigat na kayamanan yan na nasa sa inyo. At kahit ano pang mangyari sa inyo, hindi na makukuha yan sa inyo. Hindi pwedeng agawin, hindi pwedeng nananakawin, hindi pwedeng kunin sa inyo yan. Yang edukasyon na yan. At yan ang tutulong sa inyo habang buhay na matutulong sa inyong mga sarili at sa inyong mga magiging pamilya at sa mga barangay ninyo, sa komunidad din ninyo. Kaya nakakatuwa na makita dito sa Gen 3 at sa Cavite at sa lahat ng Pilipinas ay magagawan po natin ng paraan upang tumulong. Natapat pa po dito sa krisis natin, na nangyari, yung oil crisis dahil sa gera nga, sa gitnang silangan, ay nagtataasan yung presyo ng langis. Alam naman natin, pag tumaas ang presyo ng langis, sasabay yung ibang mga bilihin. Kaya mabuti na lang at meron na tayong programang ito. Hindi namin ginawa ito dahil sa krisis. Ginawa talaga lang namin ito. Swerte lang tayo. Mahal talaga ng Diyos ang Pilipinas dahil naisabay ang ating programa. Kaya po, meron din binulong sa atin si SILG John Vic, na bukod pa rito, meron tayong bubuksan na branch ng PGH na ilang beds ito? 200 beds. Meron tayong mag-groundbreaking daw kami. Itong Mayo na ito, isang PGH na ospital sa Carmona. Kaya ang title ni Sec John Vic, Secretary of All Local Governments. Pero parang nauuna yung Cavite lagi. Nakakahalata na kami sa cabinet meeting. Puro Cavite yung naririnig namin sa ating mabutihing sekretary. Pero mabuti yan dahil dumalaki po ang populasyon ng Cavite. Tinatanong ko nga, sabi ko yung una kang tumakbo, Sec John Vic, Ilan ang population, ilan ang botante mo nung una kang tumakbong gobernur? 1 million ang botante niya. Ngayon, 3 na. Magto 2.6, gano'n, 2.8. 2.8 million. Ang bilis ng progreso ng Cavite. Ang bilis talaga. Ang daming nangyayari. Ay, lumilipad lang kami at nasa daan kami. Ang dami namin nakita na pagbabago. At kaya kailangan naman suportahan ng national government. Kaya't nandito po ang ating mga programa. Asahan po ninyo na walang katapusan ang aming paghahanap ng iba't ibang paraan upang tumulong sa ating mga kababayan, upang maramdaman ng taong bayan ang mga programa ng hindi lamang po sa national government, kundi pati na sa local government. At sinasabi ko nga sa ating mga local government officials, pag tignan natin, medyo pilot project pa lang ito eh. Kaya unang beses pa lang ito. Kung mapaganda natin ng mabuti ito at makita natin na magandang takbo, na fine-tune na natin at maayos ng pag-deliver ng serbisyo ng mga tulong sa ating mga kababayan, ay pipilitin natin na sa susunod na taon, lalakihan na pa natin ang pondo para mas malaki pa ang tulong na maibibigay namin. Kaya po, magtulungan po tayo, lalong-lalo na sa ganitong klaseng mga araw na may hamon tayong hinaharap. Magtulungan po tayo. Pagka maayos ang ugnayan ng local government at saka national government, marami po nagagawa. At basta tayo ay ipalabas po natin ang ating ugaling Pilipino na may bayanihan, na may malasakit, na may pagmamahal sa kapwa Pilipino, ay tayo po ay magiging matagumpay kahit ano pa ang mangyari. Maraming salamat po. Magandang umaga po sa inyo.
Maraming salamat po.
And you just heard the speech of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. as he attended the event called sa General Trias Bawat Barangay Makikinabang that happened in General Trias, Cavite, because President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. witnessed the distribution under that particular event of 10-kilogram rice packs to 2,000 beneficiaries under the Local Government Support Fund or LGSF, and he lead the turnover of 6.6 million pesos in financial assistance from the Social Civic Projects Fund or SCPF at the General Trias Sports Park in Cavite. And each of the 33 barangays in the city of General Trias will receive 200,000 pesos in financial assistance. And the president also meets in that event. He meets with 165 Bagong Pilipinas Barangay Scholars or presidential scholars who are beneficiaries of the SCPF program during their orientation. That's the speech of the president there in General Trias in Cavite. And meanwhile, as we have a few more minutes in the program, we'll discuss to you an event that happened over the weekend because Mayon volcano has erupted again and spews thick cloud of ash because of that, the Bicol region is on high alert after Mayon volcano released a pyroclastic density current or PDC that results in thick ashfall across 52 villages in the Albay province. And as of today, May 4, Mayon volcano remains under alert level 3 or high level of volcanic unrest due to sustained magmatic activity. And recent reports from state-run Philippine News Agency indicates that heavy ashfall has affected 52 villages in Albay province following its eruption on Saturday, May 2nd. And according to the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology or PHIVOLCS, the volcano continues to exhibit high unrest activity characterized by ashfall, which blanketed municipalities like Camalig, Ginubatan, and Daraga. And the active lava effusion is ongoing as well, with flows reaching up to 3.8 kilometer in the Basud Gully. And sulfur dioxide level or emissions have recently averaged over 2,200 tons per day. And hundreds of rockfall events and multiple pyroclastic density currents are recorded daily. And because of that, more than 5,000 individuals are currently staying in 14 evacuation centers. And government is recommending the prohibition of entry into 6-kilometer permanent danger zone. That is due to risks of lava flows, rock falls, and sudden explosions. And the Department of Social Welfare and Development, meanwhile, has provided 82 million pesos in humanitarian assistance, including food packs and financial aid for displaced families. And the Philippine National Police, in terms of security, has intensified operations in affected LGUs with to assist with road clearing, water flushing, and maintaining safety. And meanwhile, on safety advisories, the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines has released advisory to pilots to avoid flying near the summit of Mount Mayon, or Mayon volcano rather, due to hazardous ash clouds. And residents in ashfall affected areas are urged to stay indoors or wear N95 surgical masks if they must go outside. And high vigilance is advised for possible lahar or sediment-laden stream flows during heavy rain. And that situation is continuously happening there in the Albay province as the Mayon volcano erupts, and the alert level still remains on alert level 3, which means the volcanic activity remains high. So the residents are advised to be vigilant of what's going on and strictly follow the instructions coming from national and local authorities. And with that, we now conclude this edition of Front and Center here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service, together with our technical team headed by Miss Susan Naison. Also on our Wirecast and audio streaming, we have Miss Justine Osias. And we'd like to thank our guest for today, Attorney Jay Layug, the former Energy Department official and the Executive Board member of the University of the Philippines Philippine Energy Research and Policy Institute. This is your host, Jerome Toledo. Until next time, mabuhay.
You have just heard and watched Front and Center. Front and Center. Join us again for another edition here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Front and Center.